So we all know Fortnite loves collabs. We get collabs twice a week at this point, but I'm starting to notice something. The collab skins they're not it. Before I get into exactly why, I think it's important that I should mention the first ever collab that I can remember is the John Wick one. That came with a skin bundle, a whole game mode, and there was like a building in Tilted Towers that was themed around the movie. Just from saying that, I think you can see what I'm trying to say here. Collabs they're not special. They are just a skin in the item shop. There is no teaser on the map. There's no little animated trailer. There's nothing really gameplay wise for the collab. It is just something to buy. It is just in the item shop, and all you can do to interact with it is spend your money on it. Or give us $30 and you can look like Hercules. That's not as special as what that John Wick one was. I think we all remember the first Marvel collab. There was a whole game mode around Infinity War, and you could play as Thanos. You could go around killing people, or you could go around as just a normal Fortnite character, and you could fight against Thanos. That was cool. That was interesting, and that was before we even got collab skins in the item shop. So that Marvel collab was just gameplay, and we all loved that. We all look back on it so fondly. I don't think anyone ever complains that there wasn't an original skin back then. And then the next year, when they brought back the Thanos event, it came with two skins, a Star-Lord skin and a Black Widow skin. And as mid as those skins were, looking back on them, I think so many people bought them because of how hype the game mode was. We had such a hype game mode that we bought these skins to celebrate that. Everyone wanted to play the Avengers game mode wearing the Avengers skins. And to that same point, when the two Marvel seasons happened, the ones that were completely themed around Marvel, everyone was buying the Marvel skins because that was what Fortnite was at the time. It was Marvel themed. You wanted to drop in as a Fortnite character because the entire gameplay of Fortnite was Marvel themed. Those are just two examples there of Fortnite collabs that, yes, they had skins in the item shop, and yes, they were expensive. We all loved them because of what it brought to the game. That's not what the current collabs are anymore, they're not special. I'll give them credit where credit is due. Fortnite still does do some big collab events like the recent South Park one, or even the whole Star Wars season, which I know not many people enjoyed those, but at least it was something more interesting than just skins in the shop. But for every example of a collab done well, there are 5 of them that aren't done nearly as good. No in-game content, no teasers, no even relation to the theme, like the regular show skins or the skins from The Office. Like, I know it doesn't make sense to give every collab some sort of item or POI, but there are still things that Fortnite can do to make these collabs feel special. You could give a skin some sort of built-in emote, some sort of custom gliding animation, something to make it worth the price that we're paying. Because if you look back on the Office skins and the regular show skins, that's all they are. All they are skins. And I think with the recent V-Buck changes and just how a lot of the Fortnite player base is sort of getting a bit older, we come to realize that just buying a character in a game, not even to play as them, not to get their abilities, not to sound like them, just to get their model slapped on a Fortnite character, it's not worth it anymore. It's not fun, it's not any sort of celebration, it's just sort of bad. And I think I wouldn't be talking about this at all if it wasn't for the recent V-Buck changes. The fact that the V-Bucks are now so ridiculously expensive, and we just get more and more, mid, lack of a better word really, just mid collabs. It starts to feel like instead of Fortnite collabing with these companies as something interesting, they are just doing it to try and drag money out of every corner of the internet. Every fan base, every movie fans, they're trying to get to you, and they're trying to drag money out of you specifically. And I think there is also definitely a point to be made there with the fact that the collabs we get nowadays are sort of niche old movies, like the recent Marvel skins that were Magic and Luna Snow. They're not necessarily mainstream characters. Of course, you and I may know them because we're on the internet, but you are someone's mother. They're not going to know who Magic and Luna Snow are. That's one of the problems with collabs as well, is they've collabed with everything big at this point, that any collab they do now is so minuscule. Like, the collabs like Peak, for example, as big as that was for a little bit of time there aren't as many people who wanted a Peak skin in Fortnite as, let's say, an Iron Man skin. And with the mention of the Iron Man skin, I've got to point out the fact that collabs are just getting repeated now. We've done a full circle with Fortnite now, where every skin that comes out is a re-release of an old skin. We get another Captain America, we get another Iron Man, we got like 4 Wolverines, for example. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be releasing version after version after version of these characters. It doesn't work anymore. I think you just have to hit a point where you say, we've got Iron Man in Fortnite, we don't need another one. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here because I feel like I'm starting to ramble, but I just needed to put this video out there to talk about the state of collabs in Fortnite, because I used to be very, very excited every time my favourite Marvel or DC character came to the game, but nowadays, I don't care. I don't want to be spending my hard-earned money on these skins that are low effort, and they don't even look good. Just here at the end of the video here, I'm going to mention that the Captain America skin, his helmet looks really big on the back of his head. And generally seeing that's what woke me up to how bad Fortnite collabs have gotten. One big helmet fully made me realise that collabs are just not worth your time anymore. And again, like I mentioned in my last video and the video before it, boycott Fortnite V-Bucks. I know that they fired like 1,000 people, and it may seem sad that, Fortnite's losing money, they have to let people go. But I think just as a fan base, we need to keep not spending as much money on the game so that the big heads of Fortnite realise that this is not what we want and they need to change it. Thank you for watching. I have been Vanilla Heavyweight, and if you don't subscribe, I'll hurt you.